Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 tips and tricks video. Today we're coming to the video that I have dreaded since I started covering all the crops, and that is sugarcane. And the reason is, well, if you thought it took me a long time to do our root crop video, carrots, parsnips, and red beets, well, it's got nothing here on sugarcane. Now, sugarcane was introduced to Farming Simulator way back in FS17's Platinum expansion and has been available ever since. Now, I feel like sugarcane is a crop of polar opposites. Either you love doing sugarcane or you can't stand it and you did it once and you'll never do it again. Maybe this video will keep you from having to go through that struggle, or maybe it'll intrigue you enough to give it a try. Either way, sugarcane has the highest yield of any crop per hectare at 226,800 liters. It also has an average selling price on easy economy of $357 per 1,000 liters, and it's going to require the most seed, again, of any crop, in requiring 12,000 liters worth of seed, although it's not actually seed. You're going to put sugarcane in the ground in order to grow sugarcane. So just like potatoes, you can use the crop itself in order to plant the next crop. You're going to be planting in March through April, and you're going to be harvesting sometime between October and November. And quite frankly, it might take you the entirety of October and November to harvest, depending on the size of the field and the speed of which you run your clock. Now, let's talk a little bit more about sugarcane and the equipment, because you're going to need some very specialized equipment in order to harvest sugarcane, transport sugarcane, and plant sugarcane. So let's come here into our vehicle shop. We're going to scroll down until we get to our special crops category, and here we have our sugarcane planters. We have two different options. We have a 1 meter single row planter, or a, well, double that up, 2 meter 2 row planter. And this is going to hold 9,440 liters worth of sugarcane billets and solid fertilizer. It's going to require a 200 horsepower engine, and it has a working speed of 7 miles per hour. Once you have your sugarcane ready to harvest, well, you're going to need the Case IH 8800 multi-row $349,000 harvester. And this is a very unique looking piece of machinery indeed. Now, you have one option, and if you are doing this in single player, then I would highly suggest you invest the $800 and get the trailer hitch option, because this will allow you to haul a trailer behind it, and the sugarcane is going to output right here out this conveyor belt. So it's basically like a forage wagon, and then it has to unload while it harvests. Now, sadly, not every trailer is going to work with that trailer hitch attachment. We also have two trailers, of which only one of these actually attaches to that harvester, by the way. We have the Colossus 10,000 and the MF 3012. These are two special sugarcane transport trailers. This is the one that will actually attach to that harvester. Now, there are other trailers that will attach to that harvester, but these are unique in the fact that they operate like a bucket. When you unload them, the hydraulic shaft here will raise it up, and then it will tilt it over and unload it like a bucket. So this one will attach to that harvester. The other one will not. And basically, you can see the hitch here. If it has what I call a pin hitch, then it should attach to that harvester. If it doesn't have a pin hitch, if it has like a ball hitch, then it will not. Now, if we come over here to the Massey Ferguson, you can see that it looks like it has a pin hitch, but it really doesn't. So this is not going to attach. And again, it's going to work the same way as the other trailer. It's a little sad because this one holds more, 28,000 liters. And given the massive yield that we can expect from sugarcane, well, you're going to want the largest trailer possible. Now, as far as consumables, we do have our sugarcane. We can buy 2,000 liters worth of sugarcane for $380. So not that expensive. And we have here a crate, 2,000 liters worth of sugarcane, again, just for $980. That's what you're going to have to put into your billet planter in order to plant sugarcane. Now, let's come back here and talk a little bit about other trailers, because I have tried other trailers with this particular harvester and found that, well, the biggest trailers don't work. So while they hold sugarcane, you can't connect them because they have a ball hitch. So the ones that have a ball hitch, well, we have this trailer here, the Ram Body AS 750 Plus on up. These do not work because they have a ball hitch. Now we're going to use the TR3490/2 PT Plus Brantner trailer. It does have a pin hitch, but we're going to reconfigure it without the extension because with the extension, it's just a little bit too tall. Again, it's a little sad because it's going to hold 46,000 liters with that extension, but it just won't work under that particular harvester. Other trailers that will work, well, the Brantner DD 24073 will also work. It has the pin hitch and it is also low enough. Now it holds 22,500 liters in this configuration, right? So 34,000 liters. If we get that and we take the cover off like this, this will also work. It's going to hold 34,000 liters. So just be cautious as to the type of trailer and the hitch that it's going to use. Ball hitch, no. Pin hitch, generally yes, for that particular harvester. Now we're going to prepare our field the same way we would normally prepare any of our crops. So if the field needs plowing, we're going to plow the field. If it needs lime, we're going to put lime down. I've already prepared this field. You do note it has one stage of fertilization already on it because we're going to actively fertilize our crop when we put it into the ground. So we are actually, I guess at this point, ready to go and check out some other things with respect to, well, what can you do with sugarcane once you harvest it? Well, you're going to be able to sell sugarcane. And to do that, let's go ahead and check our crop counter. Just confirm, indeed, March and April we can plant, and then October and November we can harvest. We can sell our sugarcane. Take a look here at our prices screen. Again, we are using Easy Economy for these videos at the farmers market, Goldcrest Valley Train Sell Point, Grain Barge Terminal 1 and 2, the Grain River Silo, and if there is a sugar mill on the map, you can typically sell your sugarcane at the sugar mill. Now, I have placed the sugar mill production, so in that case, it's not going to be a sell point. It's simply going to be a production point. We have an average high on Easy Economy of $375 per 1,000 liters listed here, and an average low of $336 per 1,000 liters, again on Easy Economy. What can we make with sugar? Well, sugar cane. Well, sugar is what we can make with sugar cane, and here we have it here. We have an average high of $1,575 per 1,000 liters of sugar, an average low of $13.98, and we're going to be able to sell our sugar at the bakery, Big Farmers Kiosk, the dairy, Farmers Market, Goldcrest Valley Sell Point, the restaurant here on Riverbend Springs, the small Farmers Kiosk that is outside the starting farm, and by no means ever buy sugar because, well, it's not going to be overly profitable. If you own the dairy or the bakery, you can also take your sugar and put it into a production. So the bakery is going to require sugar for cake, either cake flour or cake made with rice flour. It's going to require sugar. And then also you can take your sugar over to the bakery. I'm sorry, not the bakery, the dairy. And from here you can make chocolate by combining milk and sugar together and get 1 unit of chocolate. You could then further process your sugar by taking chocolate to the cereal mill, where you can be able to combine it with honey, oats, and corn and get cereal as an output, kind of as a third tier production. Let's go ahead and get our sugar cane in the ground because this is going to take a little while because, again, we are working at 2 meter working speed. We're going to come up here. We're going to hit N to open our door. We're going to hit R to fill up with solid fertilizer. And we didn't quite fill it up, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and move over here and load up our planter with our sugar cane. You see, as we are loading up our sugar cane, we can see our little billets piling up in here. I do want to demonstrate one thing. Unlike our potato planter, we can unload our sugarcane planter. So let's go ahead and hit I and unload. And, well, looky here. So this is an interesting thing that has happened and might be an interesting way for one to obtain ultra cheap seed. Now, this happened in FS22. I reported the bug. I don't know if it was ever fixed, quite frankly, in FS22. And since so few people actually do sugarcane, so few people may have actually known about this. So if that's the case, I'm breaking some news to you right now. This is how you can get some ultra cheap seed. So remember, in the shop, we talked about our consumables. Down here with respect to our sugarcane. 2,000 liters of sugarcane is $380. Well, how much does our seed cost? Well, it costs a heck of a lot more than $380. 1,000 liters worth of seed costs $1,260. I think you see where I'm going here. Well, I've unloaded this planter, and I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pallets of seed. And 2 pallets of fertilizer back out. But that's okay. We put 2 pallets of fertilizer in, right? So the planter will accept seed. It will accept billets of sugarcane. You wouldn't put seed in here directly because it's going to cost you so much money, more money, in order to do that. But if you unload your sugarcane from this planter, you don't get sugarcane out. You should, in my opinion, but you don't. Instead, you get pallets of seed. So that might be well worth the time that you've invested in watching this video to this point. Let me go ahead and fill this thing back up, and we'll go over to our field, and we'll start harvesting, or start planting. I wish we were going to start harvesting. We're going to lower a seeder. We're going to unfold our seeder. And then we're going to turn it on. And just to keep everything nice and straight, let's go ahead and turn this on. Lock in our course, and off we go. Let's back it up a little bit and just kind of take a look here. And you can see we have 2 grooves that are being put into this field. And that is our sugarcane. Right? You notice over here, depending on where you look, right, you don't have sugarcane, but here we go. So these 2 little grooves, that's all we see as far as our sugarcane going into the ground. Turn it back on, and, well, off we go. Let me go ahead and finish putting the sugarcane in the ground. Then we will do a little herbicide spraying to spray our herbicide and make sure that we don't have any weed growth. And I'll bring you back once we have our first growth state. So after we have planted our sugarcane billets into the field, we have used 788 liters worth of solid fertilizer. This had 2,000 liters of fertilizer in it when we started, and we've only used, again, 788. As far as our sugarcane goes, or seed, well, we used a bit more. In fact, we used a total of 11,611 liters worth of sugarcane or seed on this field, and that jives pretty much with the infographic from the Farm Sim manual. Said I should use 12,000 liters per hectare, and we know our field here is 0.96 hectares in size. So there we go. Now we know what we're doing there, and let's go ahead and now fast forward and see when we're going to see our growth state. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of a caveat. Well, you might find that while it says that we're going to be able to harvest in October and November. Doesn't necessarily say it's going to be the same year you plant. So we have our first growth stage here of our sugarcane in April. Just 1 month has passed. Let's go ahead and move on forward and see what it takes to get to our second growth state. I feel like in May we've had another growth. So everything looks a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. June, and we've yet another growth state. It's now almost eye level. August, and well, we've had another growth state here. Things are well above eye height now at this point. And the lower parts of our sugarcane, well, there's looking to get pretty, possibly starting to dry out, right? It's October, and I have to say, I'm a little bit surprised, actually, because if I recall sugarcane from previous versions of Farm Sim, I felt it took more than just a few months to grow. Then again, I might just be mistaken because honestly, the last time I did sugarcane was when I did the FS22 version of this exact video. At any rate, we are in October and we are now ready to go. Remove foliage is the state. And well, let's go ahead and check that out. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to grab our Case IH sugarcane harvester. And we might as well just connect here to this Colossus trailer. We're going to unfold the harvester. And you see the header is going to open up and the top is going to lower down. We're also going to pipe out with O. That way the output conveyor belt is going to now track our trailer. Now you can see this other chute right here in the middle and how it rotates around. Well, that's going to output basically the chaff, if you will, the undesirable plant matter that the harvester is going to be discarding. So let's line this bad boy up. Going to go to steering assist, and I'm going to crank this up to the max of 6 to give me the biggest turning radius I can have. Let's turn it on, lower it down, the V, and then we will engage steering assist. I'm going to turn it on, and what you can see here is, well, we are now harvesting sugarcane. So you see the harvester is chopping off the tops of the plant, and then it's bringing in the rest of the plant into the bottom of the harvester. And then here we are shooting off to the side this various plant matter. Up here we're shooting off like leaves and other things, and then our conveyor belt here is outputting into our trailer, and then we have our sugarcane rows down below. So sugarcane will regrow. You don't have to replant every year your sugarcane. So that is a pretty cool feature, I would say, of sugarcane, is that it will regrow. And let's go ahead and loop this around. Now you see a bit of material here on the bottom. Well, we will get that, and that is because we're outputting off to the side of the field. So if we run a little bit more, right? We're gonna get that texture because see right now we're shooting off the side of the field. Let me come back a little bit and I'll show you what I mean by as far as seeing that harvested texture. But it's important to note, again, that sugarcane will regrow. It's a plant once, harvest forever type crop, very similar to grass and poplar. Now, if you do have periodic plowing enabled, you may have it come up and basically say that you need to plow. If you do plow, then you will have to replant. So just be aware that if you do see it say plowing required post-harvest, you should decide, if you should decide to plow at that point, then you will need to replant. The crop isn't going to survive plowing. So I wanted to demonstrate how this trailer unloads, and to do that, you have to disconnect from the harvester because the output pipe is going to interfere. Left click and up and down is going to raise and lower this. So it's basically just a giant bucket, just like you would be manipulating the bucket on a wheel loader or a front loader. Left click left and right is going to basically dump. At this point, we are dumping our load into this large overloader, and we're going to lower it back down, and now we can continue on with our harvest. Now, as far as how much did we get done, well, we made one 3-sided trip around the field with this particular trailer. So that gives you a general idea of how much we're going to get as far as output, because we went up and down once and then we did the top. So let me go ahead and, well, let's get back to harvesting, and I'll be back with you a little bit once we get further into the field and I can start showing you the kind of the harvest chaff texture that's going to show up on the field. So it's taken our third pass on this field, and now you can see we are leaving a chaff texture on the ground from our harvester as it is outputting chaff. And if we just check our overlays here, well, you can see it does say need plowing. Honestly, I would just disable plowing state if I was you, but here we go. We are not getting a mulched state here, as best as I can tell. We're not seeing a mulch state show up, so we don't enable mulched state with respect to our harvest. Now, something else that I did want to mention is, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I thought there was a way to change the width of those tracks, but I don't see one now. I was noticing what I thought was possibly a bit of crop destruction as a result of either running this trailer or just harvesting manually, and I feel like I saw that in FS22 also during my video. And the reason I also think that is because we have this run here, and that is typically an indication that, well, there's crop there. We are not getting additional sugarcane being added. We are, oddly enough, getting a chaff texture being put down. So we're just going to run with it. And, well, we'll be back once I get this entire field harvested. And we'll see what type of a yield we've actually gotten. Alright, so our harvest is over. And if you look at this screen here, You can see that we had a little bit of damage here due to weather. Also, we've got this strip here, and this bit here, some here, and then some up here. All of this, it shows it was mulched. Okay, well, this field was mulched before harvest. So what that tells me is I've had crop destruction. And I turned crop destruction off a little bit after we started harvesting and after I saw this, and I thought, you know what, I think that's due to crop destruction. So I turned it off. And once I turned it off, well, you can see we're completely clear here, except for a little bit areas here, there, and other places. Any rate, what that means is what I'm getting at here is we had 197,225 liters worth of sugarcane harvested off our field. I was expecting to get a bit more. Based on the infographic, well, we should have 226,800 liters per hectare. We know that this particular field is 0.96 hectares in size. So mathematically, we should have had 217,728 liters worth of sugarcane. But what we really got was, like I said, the 197,225. So the difference of what, 20,000 liters worth of sugarcane may be attributed to that crop destruction. So I would say if you're going to be harvesting sugarcane manually, turn crop destruction off before you start. That way you're going to maximize your yield. Now let's run through some numbers with respect to selling this raw or processing it further. So as we've talked earlier, with respect to our sugarcane, we have an average high of $374 per 1,000 liters. So we had 197,225 liters in our harvest. If we sold that right today and we actually got this particular price, we're looking at $73,762 from our efforts. If we further process this into sugar by owning the sugar mill, well, we're going to earn ourselves a bit more money. And if we take a look here at our price, $15.75, and if we take a look here at our production chains with respect to sugarcane sugar, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So we're going to get half of the amount of sugar we put in out as sugar. So we're going to get 98,000 liters basically worth of sugar out of our 197,000 liters worth of sugarcane. That's going to get us a net revenue of $155,314 for the sugarcane that we run into this particular factory. But of course, we have to buy the factory. Now, if we have a very, very good supply of milk, we can take that sugar and add a corresponding same amount of milk. So if we have 98,000 liters worth of milk lying around, then we can process that into chocolate in a 1-to-1 ratio. So 1 sugar goes in, 1 chocolate comes out. So that's telling me that I should get 98,000 liters worth of chocolate out of my 98,000 liters worth of sugar I put into it. Let's see what the price of chocolate is. $6,434 per 1,000 liters. Oh, big money, big money, big money. $630,000 if we take our sugar and second tier production it into chocolate. But of course, we have to have a nice, steady supply of milk to do that. What if we third tier our production? Well, it gets a little bit more complicated here because, well, we need a steady supply of honey, and we know the bees, they don't give their honey up for nothing. We also need chocolate, oats, and corn. So, if we can manage to somehow get 98,000 liters worth of honey, yeah, and we had our 98,000 liters worth of chocolate, and we have our 352,000 liters worth of oats and corn, because I simply took 3.6 times 96,000. That's what I got there. We're going to be able to make 20 units of cereal. So 2-to-1, right? 1-to-2. So we're going to double our chocolate input to get our cereal output. So I said we should get 196,000 liters worth of cereal. maybe my math is wrong. I'm not really great at math, but this seems to make sense. Any rate, if we look here at our cereal price, $12,637. Again, we come back to if we have 98,000 liters worth of honey, 252,000 liters of oats and corn to be able to toss into with our 98,000 liters worth of chocolate, which we got from our sugar, which we got from our approximately 1 hectare's worth of sugarcane. $2.4 million is what I get as far as an output if I process and I make, in essence, 192,000 liters worth of cereal. Ultimately, coming from our one field here of sugarcane, and of course, we need to combine some other products. I'm not going to run down the cake kind of rabbit hole because there's a whole lot of other products we have to involve into in order to get cakes, but let's go ahead and fast forward now into November. And we should see that our sugarcane is going to bounce back, other than those areas possibly where we had crop destruction. Now, the field does, as we've seen, says it needs plowing. But given the yield, I think you could very easily just take plowing off and not really have to worry about it. Disable plowing, and then your need plowing state is gone. So you can see here, it says we have it in here. So we haven't had a growth state yet. But let me go ahead and fast forward again. We might have to get into spring, honestly, before we do see a growth state. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll come back with you. So I didn't bother weeding. I didn't bother fertilizing or anything like that. But you can see we're back in April, and we now have a growth state on our sugarcane, year 2. Right? So we didn't see any growth come back to our sugarcane until April. If you didn't know the sugarcane was going to regrow, you may have worked the field and lost out on basically another harvest. Now, of course, it does say need plowing. So if you absolutely must have 100% yield, then yeah, you will have to destroy the crop and replant it after every harvest. But given the yield percentages here, as far as what we get as far as our output goes, then I'm willing to forego the plowing bonus in order to basically never have to plant it again. It just regrows and regrows and regrows every year. And what's better about this crop over, let's say, poplar, if you watch that video, is this is plant and harvest within the same year. You don't have a year plus growth time frame for our sugarcane, at least at this point. I thought we did in previous game versions, but in 25, all the same year, it's all good to go. So that's it, folks. That is sugarcane. Now we've got just a few more crop videos left to come out, and if you've already watched all the other ones, then, well, you probably know that we are still needing to get to grapes, olives, and I'm going to do a real quick video on oilseed radish. We touched on oilseed radish a little bit with respect to our fertilizing video, but I will do a video on oilseed radish because some people get confused with that and they think it's actually a harvestable crop, whereas it's not. It's really just for natural fertilization. So until next time, happy farming.